Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Bex here today to shame myself a little bit. I decided to go back to some very old videos, specifically book haul videos, and find out which books I have owned the longest that I still haven't read. So it's time for some TBR shaming. There were some books that I did not realize I'd had for that long, and other books that didn't really surprise me, but I have picked 10. One of them is a box set, but I still have 10 books here that have been on my TBR shelf the longest, and I'm going to share them with you. As you're listening to me talk about the books, feel free to comment down below which book you think I should read next, and whichever one has the most responses, I will try and read that ASAP, basically, because I don't want it to be on my TBR any longer either. It's still here because I have some interest in reading it, but sometimes you just need that little extra push to do it. I went all the way back to my very first book haul, which was filmed in February of 2012, so that is now over 8 years ago. It was one of the very first videos that went up on this channel, and let me tell you, that was an experience to watch myself. It was filmed on my MacBook webcam in the basement room that I lived in second year of university, so yeah, it's really a product of its time. The really shameful part is that there are 3 books from that book haul that I still have on my TBR shelf 8 years later. The first of those is 1Q84. Yeah. Even then it looked like I was doubting whether that was a good decision to buy that book. And here it is. Still have it. It is a gorgeous edition of this book. I mean, I got it for way discounted, and like even the 10 pages, like that's really nice. I love this kind of see-through cover. So this might have been a bit of a cover buy at the time. I can acknowledge that. Even in that video, I say it'll probably be a bit before I get to it. Little did I know that I still would not have read it 8 years later. Or maybe I did know, because even then I was starting to fade out of my big book phase. But this one is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, very famous author, pretty famous book. And it's about a young man, a young woman. They start to notice weird things around them. It's a play on 1984, and their stories somehow get interconnected. I want to read it, but man, it scares me. It scares me. Next is a book that's actually been talked about on this channel a lot pretty recently, and that is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. I attempted to read this book last October, and I got about 50 pages in, and I just was not feeling it. So I put it down, and I have been asking people's opinions about whether or not I think I should read it and actually really try and read it. And there was very mixed opinions. Some people love this book, other people really despise it and understood why I had trouble getting through it. So I'm gonna give it one more shot. So you don't necessarily need to tell me to read this one, because I am gonna give it another go, but if I still have it by the end of this year and I just haven't finished it, I'm gonna unhaul it because it's been way too long. This book is about a mother who is writing letters to her ex-husband about their son, Kevin, who recently went into his school and killed some students and a teacher with a gun. The last book from that video is The Passage by Justin Cronin. Yep, here she is. Beautiful cover and all, very shiny. This was definitely a bit of a cover buy. You can see that rainbow effect there. Love that. This one I haven't seen too much on YouTube, but I know that Emily Fox recently read it, and I almost read it with her at the same time because she was doing a, read a big book with me kind of thing. And I almost read this, and then I was like, nope, I got other things I want to read. This one I believe is sort of about a zombie apocalypse thing that starts in a government lab, something gets out, and then bad stuff happens. It is massive, which is why I haven't read it yet. It is about 700 pages, and it's still here because I do want to give it a shot, but it's just very intimidating. So that's it for February 2012. Next, we do a very slight time jump to an April 2012 book haul. This was my birthday book haul. There was only one book from that haul that I had not read, and it was given to me as a gift. It was Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert A. Heinlein. I don't actually know how to say his name. I have never heard anybody talk about this book. This was gifted to me by a friend. It's still sitting here because it's sci-fi. It's like hard sci-fi, and that's not really something I lean towards. There's this dude, his ancestry is human, but his origin is Mars, and I guess he comes to Earth and maybe learns a few things, maybe teaches a few things to people as well. I'm a bit afraid that this is going to be a little sexist because it's old sci-fi, and a lot of people that read old sci-fi nowadays, especially women, kind of look back at it and say that it's hard to read sometimes, like it's very cringy, it's very much a product of its time. This is just not something that I would normally go for. My August 2012 book haul, I mentioned Let Me In by John Ajvide Lundqvist, and that one still with me now. This one was made into a movie too, and I feel like at some point I was thinking about doing a book to movie comparison, and that just kind of fell through the cracks. This one is about two young people, like they look like they're about preteen age, maybe a little younger even, and the boy kind of finds something out about this girl, and I think the girl is a vampire, or at least some version of that, based on the fact, or like a zombie or a vampire, based on the fact that she's currently standing in like a little thing of blood and she doesn't leave any footprints. I've heard people talk about this and say that it was good, but I just haven't had that push to actually pick it up 8 years later. Luckily, I'm not somebody that films monthly book hauls. I usually do book hauls quarterly, so there were actually a few videos that I got through the entire thing and I had read all of the books, or I may have unhauled a few of them. So now we're jumping to a July 2013 book haul, which is pretty good, so it's been about a year. And in that one, I mention the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. I hauled the box set, and that box set was sitting in my room at my parents' house for many years, so I didn't have it with me in Canada at my place, and maybe that was part of the reason why I didn't read it, but I did bring it back with me now because I'm gonna read it. It's gonna happen. This series is 4 books. It's Uglies, Pretties, Specials, and Extras, and the covers of the books are those pictures right there, so I'm not gonna pull each of them out. I have read Uglies and Pretties. What on earth? Oh, series. I said series, and now Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Oh boy. Okay, let's try that again. But I have read Uglies and Pretties before, and I think that's what kind of pushed me to pick up the other two. I believe Uglies, Pretties, Specials is the main series, and then Extras is sort of like a companion book, but it's been so long I really don't remember. I just really loved the look of this box set, and I feel like if I read it now I probably wouldn't love it as much because like YA dystopian isn't so much my jam anymore, but I also feel like I can get through them pretty quickly, so it's still worth holding on to and at least giving a shot, and then if I don't like it I'll just pass along. The next 3 books are all from the same video, and that is a giant book haul that I actually did with Ariel of Ariel the Set back in October 2013. We actually went to the same university for a couple of years. We were overlapping, and I found out that she actually lived here. We decided to go to our city's library book sale all together, and so we hauled the books that we found together in that video. The first one that I talked about was Bella Tuscany by Frances Mays. The Sweet Life in Italy, as it's called. This is the author of Under the Tuscan Sun, which I have read, and I believe I did a book-to-movie comparison of that a long time ago. And so I picked this one up because it's sort of like the companion novel to that. It's about her time in Italy in the springtime. Like, she'd only ever been there in the summer because she was a teacher, and then she ends up taking a sabbatical and getting to experience Italy in the springtime. And although this book does sound very sweet and nice, I mean, especially at a time like this where we can't really get out and go places, this just hasn't been something that I've really wanted to pick up. Like, Under the Tuscan Sun was all right. I mean, I think I picked this up 1 because I read the first book, 2 because it was cheap, and 3 because this cover is actually really, really pretty. I also talked about Beyond Belfast, which is by Will Ferguson. It is a 560-mile walk across Northern Ireland on sore feet. This author attempts to walk the Ulster Way, which is the longest footpath in Britain, I believe, the longest waymarked trail in the British Isles. And I am a sucker for stories about people hiking long-distance trails, if you didn't already know that about me. But however, this one just has never ended up getting on any of those TBR piles, but I'm still intrigued by it. I feel like, you know, I read a couple pages every once in a while to be like, yeah, I still want to read this book. It just hasn't happened yet. The last book that I mentioned in that book haul is Lost in Shangri-La by Mitchell Zuckoff. And this one is actually one that I do want to read this year. I have been holding on to it for a while, and I just wasn't in quite the right mood, but this year I'm really feeling this book. I had it on my 10 books I want to read in 2020 list. So this is one where I'm going to read it. It's going to happen. Even if I don't end up liking it, I'm at least going to give it a shot this year, which I'm happy about. This is a World War II nonfiction book about a plane that's taking some American soldiers over Shangri-La. It's supposed to be like a relaxing thing. But the plane crashes and there's 3 survivors, and they are somewhere in Dutch New Guinea. So it's about those 3 survivors and also trying to track them down and get them out. And to round off the 10 or so books, we have to jump to my March 2014 book haul. And I had one book in there that I hadn't read yet, and that was Tana French's Faithful Place. This is the 3rd book in the Dublin Murder Squad series. I had already read In the Woods and The Likeness when I picked this up. I had loved In the Woods. I remember loving it. It was one of those books that I read in 24 hours, just flew through it. And then The Likeness I read first year of university, and I thought it was okay. Like, I didn't love it as much as the other one, but I was still interested in continuing. And then when I picked this one up, maybe it was because The Likeness wasn't as good as I thought, and I just never ended up grabbing this one. Each of these books focuses on a different person in the Dublin Murder Squad, so you have recurring characters, but the focus is on a different person each time. And I think maybe this one just didn't appeal to me as much, but still want to check it out because I really did like Tana French's writing, and I want to read more things from her, but this one is just, you know, obviously I never got to it because it's still here. Those are the oldest books on my TBR. 6 to 8 years ago at this point, which, I mean, to be fair, there were book haul videos that I watched and I didn't include them on this list because I did get through everything. So I can at least pat myself on the back a little bit there. If you guys have had a book on your TBR for a long time and you want to TBR shame yourself a little bit, tell me what book that is and how long you've had it. I'd be very curious to know. Besides, we need to talk about Kevin and Lost in Shangri-La. If any of those other books are something you would really like to push me to pick up, as I said at the beginning, comment down below, let me know, and if there's one that gets a lot of comments, I will obviously make an effort to read that one ASAP, because I don't want to keep these on my TBR that much longer. Now that I know for sure that some of these books I've had since the very beginning, it makes me want to, you know, either read them or drop them. Figure out what you want to do, kind of thing. As always, all of our links are in the down bar. You can go check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.